my friends? Much love. Hope everybody's doing well. So me and Skylo, my dog, decided to come out today, and we wanted to explore some cliff lines and walk some canyons, maybe get up on the top. And I also wanted to confirm a few things for a future project that we got coming. But even right here where I'm standing, looks like we found some old hogans. There's not much to see right here, but you can see definitely some old structure wood poking up out of the ground. And it very well could be some old cowboy stuff as well. Over here we got some wood right there. And also right here, definitely some kind of wood that man has used. And a bunch of fragments of it here. And we're gonna walk these cliffs right now. But I think we want to check out some canyons that are back up in there, and then perhaps get up on top here in a little while. So we're in this spot here where there's a lot of wolfberry growing. So this is wolfberry, and it is an edible plant. And one thing about wolfberry is it tends to grow where people have inhabited. But as I'm walking up to this cliff line, I noticed we got a couple cool little petroglyphs here I wanted to get on the screen. That sun's coming out a little bit. Might not last very long. What you can see here is, of course, some modern stuff. Looks like someone tried to depict a horse. Right here I noticed this petroglyph. Looks like maybe some kind of animal, and also perhaps a snake. It's really faint, can't really see it. And there's also something else right there. Looks like an individual there with large hands. It's kind of hard to make out in this lighting. And again, we got wolfberry growing. But I'm not sure I see anything else on this wall. So those are just right there. And right here, it looks like it's really hard to make out. It looks like some Spanish writing with the date of perhaps 1902, 1901, 1900 something. It looks like a 1, maybe a 2. It's hard to make out, but that's a lot of years, my friends. Almost 125 years ago. Again, we got more wolfberry. It's all over. It's just, all this is, you can see there's wolfberry all over. I don't really see anything else though. Right here you can see where part of that cliff collapsed and all this rock fell down in here. Probably with the heavy rains that we've been having. So I was kind of skeptical because it looked like it was going to be a stormy day. And we've been having a lot of flash floods, and I didn't want to come out here and get caught up in it. But looks like it's kind of scattered. And as of right now, I think we're going to be okay. Definitely beautiful, a lot of good sights coming in here. You know, the fall leaves and stuff. It's really wonderful. So now that we're up on top, it's a little bit windy, so hopefully it doesn't mess up our audio too much. But I've been wanting to put this site on the screen for a while now. This is by no means anything that I found on my own. This was actually shown to me by a coworker when we worked on the oil rigs back in like 2008. But out of all the sites that we go to, it's definitely one of my favorite, and in my opinion, it's one of the most well-preserved structures that I've come across, and it's just fascinating and definitely one of my favorites. But we want to put it on the screen today and share it with you. So this was one of the first ruins that I ever was, besides the main structures in the area like the Aztec ruins, Chaco Canyon, all of that. As far as the Dene stuff, this is actually one of the first structures I was ever shown, ever came across, and as I said, it's definitely one of my favorites. So as we approach this site, you can see that it's very well preserved. Again, it's one of the first ones that I ever came across, shown by a friend, and it's definitely one of my favorites. And it's very easy to get to. As you can see, the dirt road is just running down there. So this is actually a pretty easy one to get to. You know, for people that want to visit such things and can't walk large distances, and you know, crevices and cracks and cliffs and stuff, this is a fascinating site to come and see. But as we come up on it, you can see it's very well preserved. We got a large doorway that stands about chest high to me. This part of the structure is fallen, so it does appear it was a two-room structure in its originality. Coming up, you can see the lintel still intact. The mortar is very well preserved. Looking up here at these roofing beams, they appear to be cut with a metal axe, probably, you know, something that was traded across from the Spanish. As we know, at the time period of these structures, you know, there was a lot of trading and sharing and stuff like that going on. So it does look like a metal axe was used to cut these beams, but I just love it, because usually you find these and there's quite a bit of damage to these structures. And as we look down here at the doorway, laying right nearby, I'm not exactly sure if that's an actual stone tool, but it does appear like that could have been a hammerhead, and that's very fascinating. You can see the wear marks here on both sides. Very awesome. Right here it looks like there was either another room, perhaps a storage, or there was something going on there. But as we look in here, you can see there's some beams standing up here as you enter the door, and we are able to enter this structure without touching or disturbing anything, so we will do so. Coming in, you can see there's another door just over here that led to the other room, which is barely remaining. But you can see these are those same beams that we've seen on the outside. Very well preserved roof, intact. And this is just a fascinating sight. Looks like some pack rats have been enjoying themselves up in here. It is windy outside, and you could feel the break once you enter the structure. Here we got some loopholes. These are little portholes that are used, you know, to stay in your structure, but also be able to see anything coming and see what's going on. As you can see, down to the distance out there. Over here, same thing. You can look out the backside onto the ridge. Very well preserved structure, my friends, and I just find it to be one of my favorites. Another porthole. So these You find these in most of these structures, and it's not 100% clear to me what these were for. But I do believe they might have been used for like a looming, like a weaving. And I could be mistaken, I could be wrong about that. If anyone knows for sure, by all means let me know. But I do believe that's what that was used for. You do find them in all these structures, a lot of them anyway. Here you can see where some of the weight of the stone on top is pushing in those beams as they've been wet over time. You see some water dripping there, or perhaps that's some waste from some pack rats, because I do believe that they're living in the roof of this thing. Here we have a beam that was placed here by site stewards, archaeology, to just give this roof some extra structure support. And I believe that's probably what this could be too as well. Maybe even this one. Here's the other doorway that led to the room. Out here overlooking the point. Looking out there, you can see only part of the wall remains. For the most part, it's broken down, but you can still make out what was going on here. Another fairly decent sized room. So there you have it, my friends. This is one of my favorites. It's completely awesome. And as I said, it's very easy to get to. I brought my grandparents up here when I was like 19 years old. They were very easily able to hike up this small hill and, you know, check it out. It's not one of the structures that are deep in the canyons or up in the cliffs. And this is just a site that is wonderful. And I love that, for the most part, hasn't been vandalized. Most of the people I know of that have shown me the site carry a similar respect for such places. And as you can see, we haven't found any trash or anything like that. Lots of footprints from visitors. And yeah, this is just one of the sites that I like to come to and check out and keep my eyes on. I'm glad I'm finally able to put it on the screen to share it with y'all. Here you can see a cork plug from where they took a sample for dating off of this lintel. It's quite amazing that there's a lot of green grass this time of the year. In the fall, it seems like it gets the brightest. Very pretty. Way down the canyon, I couldn't figure out what the noise was. It sounded like a squealing animal at first, but down at the bottom of the canyon there's an old windmill for a water well, and it's squeaking over there. So that's what I was hearing. You can kind of hear it in the distance. It's quite a large boulder. So it's been a while since I've been to it, but a fellow steward, when we were out on a group one time, showed me what I'm looking for, and hopefully I could relocate it. But I'm looking for a granary that was really well preserved, and I'm trying to remember how to get to it. think we got to hike up into these rocks. Anyway, hopefully we can find it. See that cottonwood about lost all its leaves already. So I think this is it. I think this is what I'm looking for. Right here you got this large rock here. I think we hike up behind that. And that's what I think. I could be wrong. Oh no, there it is. You can even see it right there. See that granary back there? That is awesome. It's poking right out at us. I don't remember being able to see it from the bottom. Yeah, this is the way. There was actually two of them, if I remember, but one of them's kind of torn down. Yeah, there it is. This is super awesome. This is one of the most well-preserved granaries around here that I've found, came across. So you can see there was another one over here, but this is a fine example of how preserved. You can see the plaster still on all the stones here. So you can see on the inside it's just stones, but the plaster is still covering in it. It's because it's been protected from the weather underneath here. But this is definitely a granary. Looking down here on the ground, you can see one of these stones was likely the seal. So they put one of these stones up here, and of course likewise with the mortar, and just seal it. And you know, you could put corn and grain and, you know, food and tools and pots, whatever, in there and seal it up so that the mice and stuff couldn't get to it. But it does look like there was a fire lit in here once upon a time. So that's the inside of it. Really cool. So yeah, this is the granary that I was wanting to find and share with you. Quite fascinating. There's actually another ruins right around the corner that I did a video on before, but for whatever reasons the video was taken down. So we'll probably hike by that structure on the way back. But this is just awesome, guys. This is one of the best granaries I've ever found. But you can see how very well these things would have been sealed up, you know, so that nothing could get in there. I mean, not even a spider, really. They're just sealed up perfectly. Getting a look at this wall here, you can see how this one has been, unfortunately, you know, the wear on it's been pretty tough, but you can still see the fingerprints on some of that mortar. There seems to be two different colors of mortar. Some of it's quite red, or that could have been from where, you know, perhaps a fire was lit a long time ago. I know sandstone, it'll turn red like that once it burns. Looks like we got a little bit of a thundercloud coming in that way. And looking to the north, we got some very large thunderheads there with a, looks like a pretty good storm heading this way. As we're heading out, we're gonna put another structure on the screen, which you can see right there. Very fascinating site. They call it the Citadel. It's kind of like a twin towers. When it was in its entirety, it was likely a two-story structure with like twin towers. Really cool. I did actually put it on the screen last year, but unfortunately it was taken down. So here you could really see how it was like two twin structures that were at least 2 stories high. As you can see on the left side there, there's the window on the bottom structure, and then a window in the second story structure that is just got a piece of it still standing there on the left. Wolfberry often grows where you know, people have inhabited, as you can see. And looking at this thing, a lot of these walls that have fallen, you can see all the stones here. You can see it's up on top of this large boulder. You can see the floor right there. You can see the floor of the second story, which would be the roof of the first story. And it's quite fascinating. Come down over here, you can see there was some kind of structure here, maybe perhaps a granary, or you know, where they kept turkeys or animals of some kind. Maybe it's kind of hard to say how big that was, but I believe it was probably just, you know, big enough for putting turkeys in or something to that nature. Again, you got stones all over the ground from what is coming off of this structure. Some old beams. Here you can see a couple of beams here. So this thing was actually, they did a little bit of work on it. I'm not sure exactly what year the work was done, but they did do some structure work to this to try to preserve it. So you can see this is actually a T-door. And the story with this T-door, at least as I was told by a fellow steward, is that when they came here to stabilize this structure, the people who stabilized it did a lot of work on places like Chaco Canyon, Mesa Verde, Aztec ruins, Solomon ruins. And so they just assumed that T-doors were on all structures everywhere around here. So what they did is they actually put a T-door. They installed these two walls here, these two pieces of stacked stones here, to give it the T-door look. But at least to our knowledge, the Dene, they never, or the Pueblos, they never used T-doors. It was mainly the Anasazi, the ancestral Puebloans, who used the T-door. And the T-door can actually be traced all the way to the Mayan culture. which is quite fascinating. I've actually done quite a bit of study on the Tidor and where they come from, and you can find them all the way down in Peru. They're actually all over, you know, southern North America, Mexico Valley, that type of thing, the Mayan places. So quite fascinating. I'm not going to go in it, but you could see here's one of the large rooms, one of the tower rooms, and again, there's one of those cross sections there. I believe was probably for weaving or something or another. But okay, very kind of hard to see, but right there you could see the floorboard, the roof of the first story structure and the floorboard of the second story structure. So this was at least a 2-story structure when it was original. Here you can still see part of that floorboard. And of course, still sticking out is that floor to that second story structure there. And you can see some of these stones, I mean, they're 2 feet long. Pretty hefty, heavy-duty stones. This one's more like 3 feet. Now, unfortunately, someone in 1987 carved it up, but that's about a 3-foot stone. And as you look at it, it's pretty thick. You know, that's about a 50-pound stone at least. This is, for the most part, this gives us the best indication of how tall this structure actually was. That's probably pretty close to how tall it was. Of course, you could see there's just a little tip there left standing of the entirety of it. Again, looking in this room, you got them very large 2-foot stones, you know, 50-pound stones all over the place. Look at the length on this one. This stone is long, all the way to right there. That's like 4 feet long. No joke. So this was by no means just something they threw together. This is a very well built structure. And same thing, you can see kind of some of the flooring and the roofing of the first story and the flooring of the second story. And it's just fascinating, my friends. Quite awesome little structure. I'm not sure exactly what that was, what they had going on there. Perhaps just something where they would store things, or it's kind of hard to say what was going on there. But you can see whatever it was, it's got one too on the second story. Some large rocks up on top. Now it's really starting to come down on us. So looking over here on this side, you could see where there was a doorway that was sealed up right there. Probably because, my guess is because it's so difficult to get up right there. I mean, that is about 15 feet up to that doorway. And so they probably sealed that up and said, hey, you know, we'll make one over here where it's not as brutal to get up. So I'm fascinated by the size of the stones that were used in this construction. That's like a 3-foot stone. That's like a 4-foot stone. Some of them are real hefty. But as you can see, my friends, it's coming down on us now, so we'll probably go ahead and start heading back to the truck. But definitely fascinating structure. Wanted to get on video because, again, my video was taken down, copyright issues. So And I didn't back it up, so it's not like I could just change the audio and repost it. So unfortunately that footage is lost. I can appreciate a nice light rain like this. It's just wonderful. As long as there's no lightning, I don't mind it a bit. It's just lovely. It feels good. It's fresh. But looking across the way, probably about 3/4 of a mile, there's that windmill that we were hearing. It's over there squeaking when the wind kind of moves on it. That's an old water well. The cattlemen probably drilled it for their cows. And I know a lot of them are still working today. So here you can see, here's that windmill we were hearing. And as you can see, it's still in business. That trough over there is full to the top of water. You can see that pipe where it comes out from the well there. Fills up that trough. The rain kind of stopped, at least for now. We got more coming. But you can see how these potholes have filled up with fresh water. And there's a bunch of them. Well, my friends, it's been a good day out. It's been a beautiful time out. Beautiful sights and beautiful sights. So nevertheless, I think we're gonna probably get headed out of here. I got one more stop. I want to stop and confirm whether or not I can get out of a canyon if I rappel into the canyon. So it's a project we got coming, God willing. So anyway, hope you all are doing well out there. Thanks for tagging along with us as always. We love to share these things with folks. So anyway, my friends, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you again soon on the next one. Much love to you. Thank you.